I'm Karyn Ewart. I'm the founder and head of school at the Sycamore School. We're a small, independent secondary school that serves students in the 5th through 12th grade, many of whom learn differently. So we have a cross-section of students. We have kids who are bright and anxious. We have kids with language-based learning disabilities. We have kids with ADHD. We have a strong LGBTQ community. So a lot of our students come to us because something wasn't working for them in the school that they were at. And we have a unique educational model, a mastery-based learning model, so we don't give grades or tests, and students have choices of what they study and can work at their own pace. So a mastery-based or competency-based learning model includes self-paced learning. It's student-centered, and so we really try to have students actively involved in their learning, a lot of hands-on learning, getting out into the community to apply the skills that they're learning in the classroom in real-world settings. Features are small classes. Instruction is individualized to the student, and so we can do both remediation and acceleration activities with students. So like if a student's really great at math, they can surge forward, and if a student needs some extra help in reading or writing, they can also receive that as well. So it's a very flexible learning model. I'm a clinical psychologist, but I've worked in schools my whole career. And so I've been a head of school, head of clinical services in other private and public schools in the area. Long story short, I saw a need in our community to serve kids who were falling through the cracks, that really their needs weren't being addressed in a mainstream school setting. But I wanted our school to have a cross-section of students so that we didn't lose sight of what the real world is like, hence the Sycamore School. And because I'm a clinical psychologist, I really wanted to build in socio-emotional learning alongside academic learning. And then found out very quickly, or kind of knew already, that many kids really don't have good executive functioning skills. So those are organizational skills. And so we explicitly teach that across classes. So you've got your socio-emotional learning, your executive functioning skills, and your academic skills all woven together across classes, which is really the best way to learn, is when things are embedded across classes versus a silo. At the Sycamore School, we offer a lot of professional development for our staff, and we also offer a lot of socio-emotional learning for our students. And what we know as educators and professionals is that you have to be present in order to learn. And so sometimes kids are hungry, or they haven't slept, or they're worried about a friendship. And so a lot of times, for a variety of reasons, kids aren't present or available for learning. And so our job as educators is to figure out what the barriers are and to get rid of them so that they can be present. So we have 3 full-time counselors on staff. We have teachers who are used to working with kids who are neurodivergent or who learn differently. And so it's really developing strong, positive relationships with each student so that each student feels seen, feels like the staff understand them. And so when you develop those relationships, you can learn pretty quickly when a student isn't on their A game or is distracted, and a lot of times you can problem solve with them or figure out what's going on, address it, and then help them move forward and re-engage in class. But that requires small classes. So that's one of our key features, is we have a 1-to-6 teacher to student ratio. And so that we have 2 teachers in every core class, and those max out at 12 or 14 kids. So you have the staff to be able to take the time to get to know each student, to work with individual students, to address needs as they come up so that things don't fester and kids feel like they get their needs met quickly so that they can return to learning. Success to me, and our mission and vision outline this, is that I want to cultivate independent adults who are really lifelong learners. They want to learn for their entire life. So it's not, high school isn't an end point, it's really a beginning, it's a launching into being an independent adult. And so we really focus on building skills. And it's those soft skills like effective communication and critical thinking and problem solving and teamwork and perspective taking. And so when you build out those skills, it results in students who are aware of themselves, of what their strengths are, of where they might need support. They become very good self-advocates. So then whether they're going to college, whether they're doing a gap year, whether they're going directly into the workforce, they know themselves well, they know how to advocate, and they know when they need help. And those are things that are essential to be a productive adult. So I want to see our students launch to the right next step for them and then finish what they started. So it's great that kids get into college. I want to see them finish college. I want to see them stay with a job for a significant period of time. I want to see them, continue to move forward, challenge themselves, and find the path that's right for them. And learning isn't in a straight line, and that's okay. We try to have kids test the waters through internships, through our college and career team, explore different career interests so that they have some idea of what they might want to do beyond high school. And then again, you can go into something in college, but 10 or 15 years later, you might pivot and do something else, and that's okay. As long as you know how to learn, you should be fine. We have a lot of community partnerships. We're part of the Arlington Chamber. We're part of Wiser, that's a professional organization for schools and clinicians. I've been a part of the Leadership Arlington class. And so we're part of several different community-based organizations. And our Fridays are actually, we call it community-based Fridays. So kids are doing their learning out in the community. So they're either doing field trips related to what they're studying in classes, or they're doing community service outings, or sometimes the community's coming to us. So we have guest speakers, we've had forensic psychologists, we've had pilots, we've had basically every category of profession. They've come to the school and done hands-on activities and spoken with our students about how their career trajectory was not a straight line and how they got to where they were. We've had a cybersecurity scavenger hunt here, and we've had the Arlington Animal Welfare League here bringing animals, and in turn, we've made blankets for animal shelters and bagged lunches for the homeless, and we go to the Jefferson and Culpeper Gardens to work with their seniors. So there's a lot of partnerships, AFAC as well, Doorways. So we're reaching out to nonprofits and connecting with them, because I think many of our students gain confidence from feeling like they're the teacher. So when they can teach technology to a senior, show them how to use their phone or how to get their printer to work, they feel great. And then, seniors just love being around kids. So it's a win-win. We have several students who are high functioning on the autism spectrum, and often kids with autism struggle with social skills and connecting to others. And we've had several students who initially, when they came to us, really struggled to have peer relationships or to really understand that dynamic of give and take in conversation, of compromise, of listening to something that you're not really interested in. And so we had this one student in particular, and he came to us in the 9th grade, and he was so genuine, but he was so passionate about his interests, and he would, defend them and stick by them. And some of the other kids, they didn't agree with them, or they felt he was really rigid. And I was really concerned about him kind of alienating his peers. Long story short, by the time he was a senior, he was the most beloved kid, and kids would go to him for advice, and he even graduated and came back to do a community service trip to Belize with us. And it was just an amazing progression to see it. He was given a chance to be himself, to learn how to navigate in a small school setting, and he became this beloved student who helped. He was graduated. He helped younger seniors with their capstone projects. They spoke about him at graduation, and so he became this student who was beloved when initially he was really kind of alone and an outlier. And so I love to see kids gain leadership positions, or also that the peers recognize what's there, that the peers recognize the genuineness and the kindness that's there and can look past other things, or that student can also learn how to be a more flexible thinker and how to take perspective. And I've seen that with many students. There's a softening that happens as they get older, that they aren't quite so rigid and they aren't so my way or the highway, but underneath it is such kindness. And so that's really fun to see. Another is a student who came to us, and he was so confident verbally, but he really struggled with his written skills and such. And he ended up doing a capstone project. He organized our whole career day. And then he launched from high school this year, and he just gave us notice that he's a cadet for the Maryland Police Academy. And that was his dream, to become a police officer. So it's really cool. He's taking the first step, toward his dream. And most of our students do go on to a 4-year college. but that's not for everybody. And so I love that he's realizing his dream. There's so many hands-on jobs that are needed. You know, electricians are needed, engineers are needed, mechanics are needed, carpenters are needed, and there's so many jobs within the tech field as well. So it is really figuring out, playing to students' strengths and showing them the range of jobs that are available. Like everybody thinks, oh, a doctor or a lawyer. There's so many things in the medical field that don't require an MD. So it's also exposing kids to all the jobs that are out there in an area of interest. Parent involvement to me is a game changer. I say initially when I interview parents and I follow up on this, we're partners. Parents know their kids the best. And so I want to partner with them to support their child. And the parents, when we have that mutual trust and we have that effective communication, we can overcome almost anything. But unfortunately, there's sometimes when you butt heads or whether there is conflict, and that's when it's a struggle. And so it's try to connect to every parent and try to educate every parent too, because it's a very different school model. So there's certainly an amount of trust for any parent who brings their child to the Sycamore School. You know, what do you mean a place that doesn't have grades and doesn't have tests? So we do a lot of parent education around what does that mean? What does that look like? What does the transcript look like? A lot of reassurance. Our kids have gotten into the college of their choice. This is not going to harm your child. In fact, we feel like it gives your child a leg up because they have to look at our students differently because they have this specialized transcript. But that parent partnership is essential. One, with a kid, you want the adults in their life to be giving consistent messages, right? And you want them also to be supporting each other with a common goal. And so the more parents and staff can be in alignment, the better. And parent-staff communication can be a challenge because everybody's busy. So the parents that are responsive and want to be involved and be a part of our community, that's kind of our ideal parent. I feel like marketing is a little bit of everything. Word of mouth is honestly the most powerful. So getting our parents to get the word out and talking with their neighbors and talking in the community about where their child goes to school and what their experience is, because people trust people. And I've been told in many different ways, they say you need 7 to 9 different touches with something before you act on it. So you need people to see an ad about the Sycamore School and have a neighbor and see a yard sign and all these different touches. So we have print media, we have social media, and then again, that word of mouth. And we're trying to create a community where we have a presence at chamber events, we have a presence, nonprofits in the community. Because I'm a clinical psychologist, I know a lot of the clinicians in the area, so I've developed relationships with psychologists, speech and language pathologists, Orton Gillingham specialists, so knowing different professionals in the area, and we're referring to each other. But it's always a work in progress, and it's always, people might have their own lens of how they see this school, so it's always making sure too that the lens that they're seeing is what reality is here at Sycamore. But I think and hope that we are guided by our mission and stick to our mission. Also, we have a parent education series. So I recruit speakers, and so we have speakers come to the school, or we have it virtually on a variety of topics that hopefully resonate with our parents, but it's always open to the community as well. And so that's another way to spread the word, is to let the community know that we're offering these. And some parents have found out about us. They've come to a workshop, and they come and they didn't even know the school existed. And so that's a kind of a nice way to show people about the school, and also some of the things that are important to us, like supporting kids with anxiety, supporting kids who might struggle with organizational skills, how to navigate the college landscape, everything you wish your child knew about college applications. So we have these different kind of taglines of different workshops that can, I think, speak to a cross-section of families. We've had one on like screenagers and how do you navigate phones and screen time with your teenager. So things that I think most parents have grappled with at some point. We offer professionals and talk with them, and I think that's a great resource that we offer the community. I frequently get the question, what is your target student? Who are you looking for as a Sycamore School student? And my answer isn't short. So we are looking for a cross section of students. So we're looking for students who are curious, who are interested in learning, but may not be thriving where they are. They may need a smaller classroom. They may need some social skills support. They may need less of that homework load than you get in a mainstream setting. Or it might be just small class size or a simple accommodation. We've had a student that came to us because they had dysgraphia, and they basically weren't allowed to have an iPad in middle school to work on math. They couldn't track math, they couldn't write up math problems, and so they needed assistive technology. We offer those supports to everyone, specific to what they need. So we're like, absolutely, you can have that support. And the student went on to do incredibly well here, is now at UVA and thriving. But it's just an example of a simple accommodation that was needed that we provided, and then he found a home with us. So I would say, again, to go back to what kind of students do we take? We take kids that are curious, interested in learning, but may have a barrier. It could be an academic barrier, a language-based learning disability. It could be anxiety. It could be socially they're struggling, but they need a smaller, more nurturing, inclusive environment. We do have exclusionary criteria, so we don't take students who are behaviorally acting out. We don't take kids with drug or alcohol issues, and we don't take kids that are called ID now. It used to be called MR. There are other programs that better serve those students. So if you find that your student in middle school or high school really isn't doing well, is starting to not want to go to school, is really complaining about it, struggling with the workload or the pace, we see a lot of kids who they get the material, but they can't keep up with the busy work. I think we're a school that you should consider. If you are interested in finding another school for your child, I would look up the Sycamore School. So we have a website. We have a lot of information on our website of upcoming events. You're also welcome to give us a call. We have tours every week on Tuesdays. We have monthly information sessions. And we're always willing to talk to a parent on the phone if they just want to chat with us and learn a little bit more about the school. So please reach out to us and we'd be happy to have a conversation with you.